It's spring sale time in the Unity Asset Store. 50% off over 530 assets and 70% discounts on special assets every day. It's a fantastic sale, doesn't stop there. If you use the Spring 2021 code at checkout, you get an additional 5% if you're spending over $100 or 10% if you're spending over $150. With so many assets to choose from, how are you going to know which one to spend your hard-earned cash on? Well, it turns out I've got loads of videos that cover a lot of these in there, nowhere near the full 530, but a good amount of them. This video is going to summarize the videos I've previously done on assets that are on sale now. Take a quick look at them, see if there's any you're interested in, check out the videos. Should help you make a buying decision. Building terrains is fun, right? I think it is. I love it. I'm doing them all the time, even when I'm not going to put them in a game. What you're seeing on screen right now is the output of a series of videos on Gaia and Gaia Pro. What I do in this is show you how to stamp an island and then how to texture it, how to build the biomes, how to add water in, and how to basically to build a complete scene. And once you've done that, you can do what I do in the very first video, which is to create a complete tropical terrain using those biomes that you've created in the other videos. Now, unfortunately, the tropical forest pack in here isn't on sale, but both Gaia and Enviro, which are the other two assets I use, are on sale. Now, Gaia itself is awesome at doing complete terrains, but what I find is I want to get in and get detailed in the areas that the player is intended to go in. I want to place things a little more carefully, but I don't want to have to place every single tree and every single plant, and that's where GeNa comes in. GeNa gives you procedural control over where things get planted, so that means that you can plant multiple of that plant at the same time, and so on. And you can see that in action here, where I'm planting an underwater scene. There's another excellent approach to doing vegetation in these scenes as well, and that's Vegetation Studio. Both Studio and Studio Pro are on sale right now. The cool thing about this is it uses GPU instancing to give you much better performance. So in this video, I take a previously generated Gaia terrain, and then I up the amount of vegetation in it, and at the same time, up the FPS. That's right, more vegetation and more FPS. You can have them both with Vegetation Studio Pro, so check out this video. The other cool stuff you can do with Vegetation Studio is to be able to mark specific areas to be specific biomes. So in this video, you're seeing that I've put a forest in a place that didn't exist previously. And also here in the building, I've cleared the yard area of vegetation. And that's done with biomes, and this video shows you how. Okay, so we've now got our vegetation, we've now got our terrain. What about a river? Well, for rivers, I use River Auto material, and you can see that right here on the screen. It's really simple to use. You find a good place where a river might land, you draw a spline down it, and it carves the terrain out and puts a surface in for the river. You can then do loads of cool stuff like having the river flow into a lake and things like that. It's really an excellent asset. It has full integration with Vegetation Studio Pro, which is what you're seeing in this video. What that does is it creates a biome that follows the spline that the river is on. So you can change the planting, you can change the textures on the banks, you can have river type plants as bulrushes here, and you can prevent the grass from coming right up to the side of the river. All pretty automatic. Now, that's all wonderful, but what if you want an endless terrain? So these all create terrains of a particular size, but sometimes you want an endless terrain, right? Well, MapMagic 2 is my go-to here, and that's what you're seeing on this video here. This is the output of another series I've done on MapMagic 2. So check that series out if you want procedural terrains and endless terrains. So now that you've got your terrain running, what about adding atmosphere into that terrain? Well, I use a whole load of different assets. I've mentioned one of them already, an asset called Enviro. And here you're seeing the video from the Gaia tutorial series in which I add Enviro to give me weather and lighting and so on. And that can also be used in the MapMagic one. So here is the MapMagic version of that same video with lots of different lighting and so on and going into it. Great asset is Enviro. Now, Enviro also enables you to do runtime changes to the weather itself, and that's what this video is about. We can walk into these cubes or click on the sphere up there, and it's going to change the weather in the environment in real time. So you can have interactions with your player, as well as the time of day interactions and so on that are done by the Enviro environment itself. Now, Enviro's great, but it does have a performance overhead because it's doing the calculations in real time and it's doing the sky in real time and so on. If you want to do something that's going to be less demanding on the CPU, then you can use something like Ambient Skies from Procedural Worlds. This isn't an asset to create environments. It's actually an asset that makes it easier for you to get your head around how the lighting works and the skies work, and it gives you a whole load of really good preset values. So you get really good performance because there's no runtime calculation of what's going on in this, and it also uses the standard Unity tooling. So you can use it as an educational piece. It gives you a convenient UI, as you can see on the screen here, that enables you to quickly and easily create the look and feel that you want. And then a sister asset to that is Ambient Sounds. And what that allows you to do is to layer sounds and have them play in certain areas of the map. So as your player runs around, the sounds will change, and what kind of ambient noises that they hear will be varied by the Ambient Sounds engine, which is great stuff. All right, so that's all about terrains. That's all about making things look great outside. The Ambient Sounds, of course, could be used anywhere, but everything else is outside. What about inside? Well, I love Dungeon Architect. Dungeon Architect's pretty badly named. Although this video is about generating a dungeon, you can do all sorts with it. You can generate cities, you can generate caves, you can generate even 2D platform levels, for example. It really is a fantastically powerful asset. I recommend you go and have a look at it. And this video is a great introduction as to how you can create a procedural dungeon, and that's done at runtime. So every time the player comes in, it's a different level. The problem with things like that is you need variety. It tends to look very samey, using the same kind of walls in lots of places. Well, that's where Real Ivy comes in. This video here is actually using two assets that aren't on sale plus one that is. Infinity PBR Dungeon and Wet Stuff are not on sale, but Real Ivy is, and it gives you a really good feel for how you can very quickly break up the monotony of having the same wall in every place and so on. You'll see ivy all over the place in this level, which is fantastic. So that's the dungeon, but what about having somewhere to recoup? You need to be able to have a city, right? So I love City. Unfortunately, City is not in the sale, but Simple Traffic System is. And what you're seeing here is City plus Simple Traffic System. That's a great asset that enables you to populate environments with vehicles and things like that. I love this asset. It goes really well with City. It's all automatic when you generate your city with City. This video will show you how, but it also show you how Simple Traffic System works. Okay, so we've got our environments. Now we need characters and we need ambient AI. Well, this first video actually is a repeat of something you've seen earlier on. It's part of a Gaia series. And what this is doing is it's using Crux and Emerad AI to populate the world with wildlife. Now, the wildlife models are actually in the sale as well. Emerad AI is, so is Crux. Crux is the spawner. Emerad AI creates the behaviors for the animals. You can also use Emerad AI for your enemies, though. So here we have it in the procedural dungeon that we were looking at earlier on. This actually uses Neo FPS as well. Unfortunately, Neo FPS is not in the sale, but it's a fantastic buy, even at full price. But what you're seeing here is the enemies being driven by Emerad AI. Really quick and simple to set up. There are more powerful assets out there. Of course, there's always more powerful, but this is so simple to set up. You can just get going. Those powerful ones, you have to spend a long time configuring them and getting them just right. Next up, you need good animations. Now, there's a bunch of animations in the sale. I actually really like some of the ones that are in there, but I don't have any videos on them. But even when you are able to buy those animation packs, there's always going to be some animation that you're going to need to do yourself. This is my first video on it, so it's very much a 101 of UMotion. There is a free version of UMotion, which it's not in the sale, but it's free. So you can check out and try out UMotion directly without spending any money. But UMotion Pro is in the sale, so I recommend you go and check it out now. It has lots of features that make it easier to build animations right inside of Unity. So I'll recommend you go check that out. Okay, so we got terrain, we got cities, we got dungeons, we got people. What about transport? Well, this one's actually a review, not a tutorial. This is Malber's Horse Animation Set Pro. Now this is a review, as I say, so it's not going to teach you how to use it, but Malbus has some excellent tutorial videos. So I just knocked out a quick review so people could make a buying decision. Basically, go buy it if you need horses. There's nothing else out there, and this is a great asset. If you do watch the review, there's a couple of bugs that I highlight. Malbus has fixed them since I did that review. Great stuff. But what if you've got that procedural world we were talking about earlier on? You need to be able to travel further distances. So maybe you want a vehicle. Maybe you want to have something like this truck driving around. Well, in this video, I actually build a complete mini game. I use MapMagic and I use NWH Vehicle Physics. And this will show you how you can really quickly get going having a driving game. Great fun. The first bonus item is one of my favorites, Destroy It. It really is such great fun to play with. I use it a lot in my game. I've created lots of traps and lots of puzzles for the player that use destroyable objects in the world. It is fantastic. So go check that video out. This is actually a review, not a how-to. I do have a how-to actually for Destroy It. I just realized I haven't got it in here. But if you search, you will find it. And then finally, if you want to see how all these things can come together and build a complete game, this video is from the Honest Jam. This is run by Honest Dan. And this is about halfway into the jam. I'd done about 5 hours of work on this game at this point. I did about 10 in total. The game is up on itch.io if you want to check it out. It has an asset in here that we haven't yet talked about, plus a whole load of others actually that we haven't talked about. The meadow environment, for example, the animal packs that's in here. This that you're seeing on screen right now is an asset called Choreographer. And Choreographer is basically a rhythm engine. You can create games like Rock Band, which is what you're seeing here, but you can also use it to drive animations. Note the cows. They're headbanging in time with the music in the background. The final version was even better. They were doing all sorts of stuff. Go take a look at that. But look at the asset list that is in here. It's huge. We've got loads of assets that are in the sale in here, and this video gives you an example of what you can knock out in just a few hours. So there you go. Quick run through of just some of my videos. Check them all out. Make a good buying decision in this sale or even outside of the sale. Do let us know how you get on in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see more videos. See you soon. Bye bye.